your questions gives you a satisfaction that you are a seeker. When you can't afford your spiritual poverty, you wanted to create a luxury called seeker ego. If you feel mentally you are too poor, you get a good furniture just for the hall. Just for the front hall, you get a good furniture. You do not want to show to the people that you are poor. You will have lot of loan. That is different. You will have enough of loan, but in the front room you will have the best furnitures. When you feel you are poor, you get best furniture for your front room. When you feel you are spiritually poor, spiritual poverty is too much. In ordinary poverty, your ego is not hurt. If you don't have money, your ego is not hurt. But if you don't know about spirituality, your ego is hurt. That is too much. You can actually easily put up with the ordinary poverty, but not with spiritual poverty. To show to the people, I don't have money, it's not a big deal. You can handle it. And sometimes people even feel proud. I have seen people who don't have capacity to make money in politics field, they tell me, I am very honest, Swamiji. Just say you don't have capacity. You didn't have capacity. And you can always justify your poverty. Even the government officers, people who are very poor, they say, no, I was pure. I never took any money. I am non-corrupt. You can always justify your materialistic poverty. But it is too much. Spiritual poverty is too much. Your ego is hurt. So you wanted to show you are a seeker. That is why you say, I tried to become enlightened. I tried my best, Swamiji. I am trying my best to meditate. Beautiful words. Good furnitures for others to sit, not for you to live. Good furnitures to show to the others, but not for you to live with. Seeker ego is a beautiful furniture with which you are showing to the world you are not poor. You wanted to have some luxury. You just don't want people to know you are poor. So that luxury is what is? Seeker ego. Seeker ego. Actually, I tell you, let you be very clear you are spiritually poor. At least that clarity will allow or will make something to happen in your being. The alchemy will start happening. Honesty and truth can lead to ultimate. But we do not want that. It is too much. I don't have money, you can always justify. But you can't justify, I don't know spirituality. You can't justify. So this is a buffer. The seeker ego is used as a buffer between you and the truth. You use seeker ego as a buffer to protect yourself from the truth. The car, you can see there will be buffer springs. Have you heard of these buffer springs? In all the vehicles, they have buffer springs. So that all the shocks will not be transmitted to your shock absorbers. So that all the shocks, all the vibrations will not be transported to your body. Your body will not feel it. So shock absorbers, buffer springs are used to keep you away from the reality called road. Road is the reality. You do not want the shocks of the road, the shocks of the reality. So you keep the buffer, shock absorbers between you and the reality. Seeker ego is the buffer spring between you and the reality, you and enlightenment, you and truth. When you say, I am trying to be very clear, you are cheating yourself. Just try to pick up that bag. Don't pick it up. You can't pick it up. Try to pick it up. What do you mean by it? You are playing. You are playing, but costly game. Please be very clear. Costly game. You will be wasting your whole life in this game. And in the end you will say, I was a seeker throughout my life. Many people come and boast in front of me. Swamiji, in 1942 I had initiation from Muktananda Baba. You are just damaging your Guru's name. They think they are adding his name or they are spreading his name. No. Still you have not become enlightened. You are damaging your master's name. That is why I tell people, never go and tell outside I am Nityananda's disciple for last 2 years. Then you are damaging my name. Still you have not become enlightened. Then what for you are here? Then it's practically defaming me, not spreading me. I have seen many people coming and telling, for last 40 years I am meditating something. They are defaming the meditation itself. Trying to pick up the file. All your questions are postponed by Shastras. Shastras create so much of words, you get frightened or bored. Either you get frightened or bored and drop the question. And that is also a technique. That's also a technique. Even in that way, if you drop the questions, okay. But there are some people, they don't drop the question, they keep it on corner of their mind. They just suppress it. And they say, afterwards I will take care of you. Intellectual violence. Even you can experience this. If you are fighting with your wife, that time you do not know what to reply. And you will take down all the points. You will silently listen and do something. Next day morning, when you are brushing or sitting in the Latin bathroom, you will have all the answers. You will have all the answer for your wife's questions. When you are brushing your teeth, she told that word. The reply is ready. He told that word. The reply is ready. You are sharpening your weapon now. You are sharpened now your weapon. Yesterday she was loud. You see, actually when people speak loud, your logic stops working. Your logic stops working. So when she shouts, you will not have any answer. So that time simply you take things inside. And when you are brushing the teeth, you get all the answers. Again you go and shout. Then again you get some more questions. She shouts some more things. Then next day when you brush, again you get answers. Actually, when she shouts, it is not that you are convinced. You are not able to understand. You are able to answer few things, other things you are not able to. So you just keep them in file. That is what is subconscious. Any experience, if you have not lived with your whole being, with your totality, you create subconscious. Anything which is unlived, anything which leaves hangover in your being becomes subconscious. If you are not living totally in the present moment, Those experiences create subconscious mind. Those things create a subconscious level. Anything, if you live totally, if you live with full alertness, awareness, it gets fulfilled. Karma means the experiences which has not happened fully in you, which you live only with half of your awareness, is what is karma. You, by nature, you are a being which is fulfillment. By nature, you are a fulfillment. So you can't leave anything unfulfilled. So any experience, if you have not lived fully, it again pulls you, attracts you to fulfill that same experience. If you have not smoked fully, if you have not enjoyed the smoking fully, whenever you smoke, if you have guilt, be very clear, you can never drop smoking. If you smoke beautifully, happily, without any guilt, simply smoking will drop you. You don't have to drop smoking. Smoking will drop you. Any experience, if you have lived completely, the moment that experience is complete, fulfilled, it drops you. It wants you to go beyond that. Do you feel disturbed, or do you feel that you are missing your toys? Do you feel that you are missing your toy car? No. You are full. You are full. You played enough. Over. Naturally, now toy car has dropped you. Same way, if you live fully, this car also will drop you. If you have not lived fully, you will create a hangover, which I call karma. Anything which is unfulfilled, which is there in your being, is what I call karma. Unconscious. First, karma is subconscious. That is why you can see the people who work in the line of stotras, who sing stotras, again and again they mention the word karma. Because they are caught in that. They are caught in that. All the bhakti scriptures, all the stotras, people who do stotras, they are afraid of karma. You can see. In all stotras, the fear about karma will be expressed. Because they are caught in the karma. They are caught in the karma. Stotras are wonderful techniques to go beyond the karma. Shastras speak about the goal. Stotras are expression of after having the experience. Expression of experience. But there is a missing link. For example, Shastra is a scripture which says goal is there. Stotra is a scripture which says, oh, so beautiful this goal is. Shastra is a scripture which says you have to go to the top of the mountain. That is the goal. Stotra is the scripture. After reaching the top of the mountain, you start singing the beauty of the whole nature. You start expressing and dancing. There is a missing link. Nobody has bothered about that. That is the question. How to reach the top of the hill. The technique to reach. That missing link is connected by Shiva, the ultimate enlightened masters. He is the ultimate enlightened master. He is the ultimate among the enlightened masters. He is the ultimate enlightened master. Shiva gives a beautiful scripture. he delivers wonderful book called Vijnana Bhairava Tantra. Tantra means technique. Tantra means technique. Tantra doesn't belong to any religion. It doesn't belong to any creed. It doesn't belong to any caste. It doesn't belong to any sect. Because it is simply techniques. Techniques to reach the ultimate. Techniques to reach the ultimate. That's all. For example, Thomas Alva Edison invented this bulb. Once he is invented, it belongs to whole world. You can't say because Edison invented it, it belongs only to Christians or his country people. No. Once it is invented, it works all over the world. It belongs to whole humanity. Because it's a technique, that's all. Same way, the Tantra is a technique which can create inner light. It doesn't belong to any one religion. Anybody who wants light for them, this is a technique. Anybody who wants inner light for them, Tantra is a technique. Tantra is a life solution. Tantra is a technique. Tantra connects the Shastra and Stotra. Tantra fulfills the Shastra and Stotra. Tantra is the ultimate fulfillment. Tantra is the ultimate technique. Tantra leads to the ultimate being.